Everything's better. Yeah.
Okay, guess what, ladies? We are live and we're sorry that we are late, a few minutes late, but you know what? This is what happens in the world with technology. We had some tech issues and we're really excited that Dr. I is joining us. She's joining us after a huge storm, I think, last night and some Wi Fi issues. But I'm so happy, Dr. I, that you're joining us from Maryland. My colleague Eugenia, you're joining us from Mexico.
Yeah, that's right. A completely different situation right here. We're all dry. We haven't seen any rain since I don't know when, but I'm right here.
And I'm Mary Alice. I'm joining in from Connecticut, and this is part of what we wanted to do as a direct result of our last DigCit Summit that was designed specifically for New York educators around their new initiative, state initiative around civic readiness. And Dr. I was one of our presenters. And we created that day to be like a day of conversation, right? Instead of having the typical type of presentations, we decided to change the format and make it around a day of conversations around building connections and building community. And over the summer, we decided we'd do some deep dives.
That's right. Oh, she went off again, but we're here, and it's really exciting that we are doing this kind of conversations and continuous presentations because it was a totally powerful summit where key persons joined us. Oh, she's back. So I'm really, really excited because I is one of my favorites. I've been in one of her sessions, and it's just like really quick. She's the best for streaming in education. I think so.
Oh my gosh. And so the fact that we're talking about, we're live, talking about live streaming, this is our opportunity to dive a little bit deeper with Dr. I. And I have to say, I'm going to echo what you said, Eugenia. We are massive fans. And in fact, our whole organization wanted to jump on board to make sure that we were all part of the disruptor planner community. So, Dr. I, we've been on this journey in higher education together, leaving higher ed at the same time, joining this entrepreneurial community, and we are so happy to learn with you today. I think Dr. I must be frozen.
I think so. She has a lovely smile, but she's frozen. I don't know.
Okay, so we'll see if Dr. I, if the Wi-Fi is going to work out. If not, this is like, oh, she's back. Maybe.
Yeah,
Oh, no. We'll see if, and if not, the conversation needs to we need to have Dr. I come back when the Wi-Fi is more stable, because what she is doing, her organization is Classroom Without Walls. And she walked away from higher education around the same time that I did. My story was I really do. I want to be a part of change. I don't want to be a part of privilege. And I worked really hard for that, the big change to associate professor with tenure. But I'm proud that I did it. But I really want to be, I want to be about change. And that's around the same time that Dr. I was doing the same thing. So to be part, Eugenia, of her community, of being disruptors, is just incredible.
Okay,
we've been talking great things about you and parallel journeys into this entrepreneurial experience. And so I don't know if the Wi-Fi is working for you, but if not, we will reschedule because your story is incredible. Oh, my heart breaks.
Yeah, me too.
So our whole organization did, we all got the Disruptor Planner, and we are part of Dr. I's community.
The great tool.
And if you don't know, Dr. I was recently interviewed by Katie Couric. And so what a wonderful way to be spotlighted. Your work is spotlighted for, breaking down classroom walls, disrupting education, really looking out of a different lens. Let's see. To see if we can add her. How is it on your end? I don't know if you can hear us.
I'm just so sorry. My Wi-Fi is just really so bad. So I apologize.
Well, no worries. We got to talk about you and said that we should reschedule because we're massive fans of your work, who you are, and we love being part of your disruptor community. And if it makes more sense that we do this at another time when the Wi-Fi is more stable, I mean,
we can definitely, but all of a sudden it seems like better. I don't know how long this is can last. Like I can hear both of you now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you too.
We could go off screen and just have you talk, and if we need to jump back in, we will.
Yeah, definitely. And so I just feel so honored that Mariali's Juhenia, like the three of us on the same screen. That makes me feel so honored and so excited and so humbled. I know both of you are just doing amazing work. So thank you for having me as a guest. So I guess we're talking about live streaming, and I can really share my journey as a live streamer. And so how I got started on this was almost 2017 or 2016. At the time, I was still a college professor. I was teaching classes like public relations, social media. And I realized, oh my goodness, as a professor, and I was not walking the talk. And I had lots of theories, but I wasn't practicing anything I was teaching in the classroom. And I saw that in my students' evaluation, which definitely hurt, right? Like when students are telling you that, oh my God, Dr. is amazing, but the only thing I learned is like theory, more theories, because I came from University of Maryland, which is a research university. And the only thing I learned is theory. So at the time, that was a big aha moment, a wake-up call for me as an educator. I realized as a teacher, we cannot just be an educator. We also need to be a practitioner, at least for what I was teaching. So that's really how I embraced live streaming. I was like, what can I do to build a Wallace, like a classroom that is now confined by geographic barriers, so that my students can learn from other people who are not teaching the classroom, but they have so much more experience than what I did as a teacher. And so that's really how I started live streaming. It was really for my students so that I can build a classroom without walls, and students can learn not only from me, but from other people. And I interview some of the biggest, the best practitioners in the field of social media, marketing, like Seth Godin, Mark Schaefer, so many amazing people. And I still remember to this day, and my students told me, like, Dr. I, first of all, this was the first time that they are actually using social media for good. First time that they actually use live streaming for learning, for networking, to like civic contribution. That was their first time. So that was a shocker to me, because I always thought like digital natives, they knew everything about technology. They knew everything about social media, but that was just naive on my end. It was just really naive on my end. And I learned that students are not, they don't know. They are only using social media. Oh, hey, Nora, to consume. They don't know how to use social media to contribute, to create, to start a civic movement. They don't know that. And so that was the first thing. And the second thing was that my students told me, oh my goodness, Dr. I'm learning so much from all of the guest speakers, all of my classes combined from business school. I was like, wow, that was really, really encouraging for me to hear. And so that's really how I got started on my live streaming journey. And my students really benefited tremendously from interacting and learning from all those speakers. And they got like internships, they got interviews, like so many amazing things happen to my students. And a byproduct of starting live streaming is me and my communication skills, my interview skills, my ability to step outside my comfort zone, talking to some of those big names that I had never met in person. I only like admire them from afar before, but now we're on the same screen interviewing each other. That was very challenging for me. So personally, like embracing live streaming has really helped me grow so much personally, professionally, like developing all those essential life skills and also learning to step outside my comfort zone. And even for my students, I will assign them to interview. I teach them how to use LinkedIn to do digital networking, to identify strangers. I think our students, they need to learn how to talk to people they have never met in person, not only talking to their friends, their teachers, their parents, but actually having professional conversations with people they have never met in person. So seeing that my students are also developing those essential life skills, that's another plus. So that's why, like I'm such an advocate, even to this day, running my own company and launching a live streaming interview is one of my signature projects, because I see how much my students can benefit from a simple project like this. So that's kind of my journey and how I got started and why I'm such an advocate of this.
I'll back to the stream, and I just know that for the longest time, Dr. I wasn't going live, but I was watching you going live. And even our start into going live and starting on StreamYard is because of you, like the inspiration it's amazing the people that you have had on and how you consistently disrupt the model, the formula of education. And so for anybody, I know that we've got some people on LinkedIn. I also know from text messages that Lori is joining us live as well. I just actually asked her if she received her disruptor planner. But for anybody that like hasn't gone live yet, is a little bit fearful, I know that Brian Romero Smith joined on and said a good morning to us as well. I remember seeing Brian in the Pass the Scope EDU and seeing banners and thinking, oh my gosh, I have no idea. It took me a long time to put my toe, dip my toe in the water, so to speak. But what are those first starts? That first step for anybody that's hesitant to begin to go live.
Yeah, such a good question. I think I totally understand. Oh, thank you, Lori. I totally understand it. And I think I also had lots of fears. And actually, when I look at my very first live stream almost 5 years ago, it was a disaster. Like my eyes were covered because there was some clutter in the background. The sound was awful. It was a really disaster. But without that very first live stream, I wouldn't get to where I am today. I actually just built my kind of YouTube live streaming studio. And I think what really helped me to embrace that fear was to remove myself from the picture. Like I was telling myself, this is not about me. This is about the value that I can bring to my students. And so I really just like not look at myself, because even to this day, I still hate my voice. Like, oh my God, this just sounds awful. But I focus on, like, especially receiving the messages from my students, I just focus on how much doing this has really inspired and changed my students, changed their lives. So that has kept me going for a long time. And I think when we try everything new, there's the initial period of just like when you step outside your comfort zone, there's that fear. I think the fear will last for a few weeks. So eventually we'll get used to it. So just the first few weeks was really looking at my students and how much they are benefiting from them. Not look at me, but actually shift my focus on them. That kept me going for about quite some time. And then eventually I just get used to this. Yeah. So that's how I just overcame that. Yeah, embrace it. I learned to, like, really dance with my fear. And especially now, I have done so much work in growth mindset, something that I work with my students. And I just frame this: hey guys, you are going to be outside your comfort zone and take my class. Are you guys in or out? So I kind of prepare them throughout my classes. That really helped them a lot. And also, I think model, right? I think both of you walk the talk, use myself as the guinea pig to model this. Okay, guys, I'm afraid of this, but this is how I'm working with my fears. I use my stickers, things like that. So be the change that we want to see, like model. If we are asking our students to step outside their comfort zone, like who are we if we don't do that? So that's kind of how I talk to myself out of the fear.
Amen to that, because, it's the idea of when we model that, and I know I'm going to put on what Lori had just said about failure. I mean, if we aren't willing to show what it looks like to fall flat on your face, but to get up, like those teachable moments, what you learn from that. And so I remember in higher ed, my whole focus was you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And we need to model that for our young learners.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember that it was Dr. I's idea to go to do a Dixit Summit 24-hour. And it was totally, completely to be out of our comfort zone. And you and I said, okay, yes, let's do it. And we didn't know what we were facing. And it was one of the most powerful and one of the most beautiful summits that we've ever done, because people from all over the world join us. We have a lot of students. We have sessions in Russian, in Hebrew, in Portuguese, in Spanish, in English. It was a completely different summit, but it was the result of this, right? Like being out completely of our comfort zone.
Yes. And, for people that haven't, might be afraid of that first step, the fact is, if you can have a community, right, around you, I know we call it the PLN, Dr. Sarah Thomas. I love that she has she's, coined it the PLF, the personal learning family. That's when I feel like if you have that support system, that because we didn't know what that 24-hour event was. This is several years ago. This is pre-pandemic. We did that. And it was because of you, Dr. I, that said, let's incorporate let's go live. Let's have all the time zones, available, rather than doing an event that is specific or is available to certain time zones. We'll cover it all. And that really that's a great example of the power of the power of having that network, having that community that's willing to take that risk collectively together. And I do remember that we started at 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time for that event, and we had tech issues. We did, just like we're having tech issues today. And how we worked through it, and how we modeled with grace that, yes, this is not the ideal, and perhaps that some people might see you have tech issues, so I'll avoid it. But this is life. And when you get working through it, that's a lesson in itself as well.
Yeah, that's another thing. I love and hate technology at the same time. But I think with that, you really learn resilience and creative problem solving, like how to handle challenges on the spot. I think this is a very important skills that our students need to learn, because what I have, over the last 20 years, for me as an educator, I noticed that our students are demonstrating less and less emotional resilience. Little things can almost destroy them. And I think, technology is kind of like tech failures is something unavoidable, just like failures and mistakes. So coaching our students how to learn how to use technology for good. They're also learning how to handle challenges on the spot and building that resilience without feeling like, oh my God, my life is over because I had this tech issue today. So I think that's also a great way for them to learn. Yeah.
Okay, so I think when you were still a faculty member, that's when you were going live, right?
Yes, that was, yeah. So 2016, I think 16 or 17, like when live streaming just started, I jumped. Yeah. I think either 16 or 17, I don't remember exactly, but it has been quite a few years. Yeah.
I didn't have the courage to go live like that, but I did have the courage to go live where we'd host, like, class would be online, we'd be on Twitter, and we'd be using our, our class hashtag. And I remember this is many years ago, we had this massive, like, blizzard and school was canceled. In fact, I think for the whole state, we were canceled for a while. But I just, anybody that could join and did have Wi-Fi, and there was one day I had like 3 classes, and we had our hashtag trending. And I remember like alumni
That's
saying,
amazing.
why is my university, like, what's happening? And to know that you could, at the time, trend because of education was really something powerful. So, I even want to add that there are, even to take those first baby steps, it can be something that, like, breaking down those classroom walls, posting your
100%.
class on Twitter, but having an authentic audience, like,
100%.
it's more than just a classroom. But there
100%.
are, yeah.
Yeah, I think especially for both of you, your guys are so active. Your ladies are so active on social media. So I think when teachers already have that audience, you can really tap into professional audience. So when you go live, like when I go live with my students are networking with my audience. And I think that is the closest they can have to a real life environment, right? So not only you're talking to your peers, but you have professionals, you have people from different countries. Like, what a better way to train our students' communication skills than actually doing that? Yeah, it is so amazing. You really build this global classroom.
Yes, and you build that network for our young students, like, to be able to, as a result of learning, I'm building this network of not just other educators, but professionals in fields that I might be interested in. And so
100%.
that is the powerful part. Do you want to kind of share what you're doing with Classroom Without Walls? Because I know
Yeah,
with your students, I
definitely.
just think it's exceptional.
Yeah, and before that, I also want to add, what you were talking about building this network, Maria, is such a good point because I'm just getting prepared for a talk. So I was like doing research regarding the hidden job market. Do you know, like, there's the hidden job market, meaning that jobs that are not advertised on any of the list, right? So kind of hidden. That is 75% of jobs are in the hidden market. So when you are applying for jobs, you're only applying to 25% of all the available positions out there. That's only 25%. So 75% is hidden. And how do you tap into the hidden job market? And one way is networking. Exactly what you talked about, Maria. Open.
Oh no, are we losing Dr. I?
Learn from others. Am I back?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're back.
yeah, you're back. You're back. You're back.
So, like, I was just saying that, to tap into that hidden job market, that is 65%. And I think the best way for our students to tap into the hidden job market is networking. And when we go live, our students have, like, we open so many doors for our students, and they develop for their own professional growth and development. And so before I lose my Wi-Fi again, so for me, classroom is that, so after I quit my professor's job in summer 2019, I was like, okay, it took me a while to get to where I am today, but I knew the traditional model wasn't working. I was like, I want to develop a different way of teaching and working with my students. And it took me a few years and many of my students really helped me refine my curriculum. So now I have my own curriculum, I have my own framework. I develop like a 3-phase process. I develop an iceberg model. But the core of my curriculum is that 3 components: knowledge, life literacy, and the mindset. And what I learned is that traditional education, traditional schooling, we teach our students lots of information, knowledge. That was right, like learn this, memorize this. But that's not enough for them to be prepared for the 21st century. So what I learned is that the sweet spot of career and life readiness is really the intersection of knowledge, life literacy, and the mindset. So when our students master all of the three, not just information, which is not just knowledge, which is about information, but actually transformation. So when they master all of the three, they become ready for life. They become ready for their careers. And that's really what I teach my students, what they are not learning from a traditional classroom, to embody that disruptor identity, to really master those life skills, and to really also embody a growth mindset. And our students are having lots of success. We have students who have no confidence, struggling with the school, no idea what they want to do. We even have students who are doing like self-harm, like all sorts of crazy things. They all left the program becoming a better person and a better version of who they are. So that makes me feel very extremely fulfilled, and I really love this. Yeah.
Well, I just put down on the banner so that the full spelling of your name, so people know how to, reach you, how to connect with you. Before, when we were having the Wi-Fi issues, I got to also give that shout out because I think it's incredible that your work was recently spotlighted and highlighted by Katie Couric. And but if you just go and you look up Dr. I. Addison Zhang, it's down there in our banner, you'll be able to find Dr. I on all sorts of platforms. I feel like you're the most active, probably in LinkedIn, right? That would be your...
Yeah, I'm really active on LinkedIn. And thank you for mentioning my interview with Katie Couric. And this is something I share with my students, right? The reason they interview me is not because I'm the best educator, because I'm a disruptor. I'm doing something very different. And I think that is something that I want to inspire our students, right? The future belongs to disruptors, not conformists. And many of our students out of the traditional education model, most of them are conformists, right? They're so good at listening, following orders, which is good. But I think they lost what is really unique to who they are. And I'm really passionate about inspiring our students to really keep that uniqueness, right? Who they really are, and amplify it. So yeah.
So I want to make sure, I want to encourage people to reach out to you, to continue to learn with you. Hueni, I know that you had said, I mean, we've been on this Digital Summit journey for a long time, and you have been an integral part of it as a speaker, as a co-organizer, as an incredible friend and mentor. And I'm looking forward to whatever is to come in the future with our Digital Summits. I know that you are a part of it, and that makes my heart really happy.
No, I'm really happy to be part of this.
Yeah, and my goal is that now I'm going to say this loud. I want to be a sponsor because, and I love what you guys are doing. It's like really amazing. And I think there are so many people just like talk, and so few people are doing the talk and the work at the same time. Both of you are not just talking about this, but actually doing the work. And so that's really inspiring. You both inspire me to be a better teacher. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that goes right back, and we'll end it on that note that, the power of a community, having that network, that you surround yourself with, because they push you. They push you to think differently, to make things, put them into action. So Dr. I, it is an absolute honor to be on this journey with you, and Disruptors Unite, my friend.
Yes.
And for everybody that joined us live, as well as people that will catch this after the fact, please make sure that you connect with Dr. I in the future. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. Honored.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and keep posting. Keep watching our channel, because many summer deep dive to come.
Oh, and I know that you're going to have some in Spanish as well, my friend. So we're going to expand this beyond just in English. So
we're planning some.
It continues to open doors and opportunities, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and totally being global and inclusive.
Wonderful. Oh, I've got one more to show. And if you can make Lori smile, oh my gosh. Her, if you don't know Lori already, follow her, because her handle is Smile Learning, and I've never met a smile quite like Lori. So thank you, Lori, and thank you for everybody that's joined us.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay.